guys, Marmalade here for Q&A number 9. Appreciate you joining in. This is the first Q&A of the year 2020 and the decade. So it's the 7th of January 2020 and I'm excited about this video. We have some good questions, so let's get started right away. So my first question is from Bob PCT 2020. What did you use to connect your cell phone to your trekking poles? So if you may have not watched my through hike, but I used the stick pick, which is this right here, the stick pick. It has a stretchy, they make all different kinds, but this fits on your cell phone. And let me show you a quick little video I made of it up close. What I like about this is it's very simple, very light, very small. I keep it in the waist belt pouch of my pack, along with my tripod, so whenever I'm filming I have it right there. The key point to this is if you ever go to their site, and I bought my product, so I have no affiliation with them, I just love it and like to share things that I find. And he asked the question, so it's stick pick, and the main key point is that the inner diameter of the hole in this white part right here. He makes all different size inner diameters. It needs to slide over your trekking pole just right. So what it'll have is, like, it'll say for black diamond get the number 4, and for I use Cascade Mountain Tech hiking poles, trekking poles. Get them at Costco, get them online. Very inexpensive and is easily as well made as black diamond, if not better, and they're only 30 bucks as opposed to 180. But anyway, so the inner diameter of your pole has to fit into this perfectly. That's what I use in the morning when I do my intro when I'm on the trail. Most people who are backpacking do weekend trips, they're not through hiking, but I've noticed, and I'm pretty sure and I'm convinced that for me doing hundreds of miles with my trekking poles in the desert and in the sand and the rough ground and mud and things like that, I'm convinced that I gently shaved off some of the outer diameter of the tips of my trekking poles, because as time went on, when I would slide that stick pick on, it was looser and looser, and I'd have to really force it on to get to stay on there when I'm videoing. So I'm convinced that that happens when you through hike, but I don't think it'll happen when you're just using your stick pick on the weekends. Okay, my next question is of course from Terry Savini. When you carried your 3-liter water bladder, did you always carry it full? Where on your pack did you put it or store it when it was full or empty? So that's a good question. I'll show you my whole water kit right here. So this is my kit, of course, an orange bag. I wanted to keep it all in one place, but let's show you first what I carry in my water bag. So to start with, my filter choice is the Katadyn Be-Free replacement filter. It's important because the filter itself is always the same. It's very small and light. This is the filter here. They make it, if you buy it at REI or something, it comes with a bag, comes with different things. The replacement filter is by itself. You save money. It's $24.95 at REI. And then I have the 3-liter Hydro Pack rubberized bag. It gives me the capability of carrying 3 liters, of course. I like it more that when I'm getting water, I have to fill up, 3, 4, 5 liters sometimes, at least in the desert. Before I had a smaller bag, it took me more refills to put it in the creek and do all that. This one I can fill up almost 3 liters. Put the filter on, and what I do is I use this as the dirty water bag. So even though a lot of times the water's clean, I always use this as a dirty water bag, put the filter on, and filter into my other bottle, so all that water is clean. Even if I store some water in here, once I drink right out of it or put it in bottles later on, it's still filtered. So that's how I do it. To answer your question, in the desert, once in a while, if I had a really dry stretch, I'd put maybe a half a liter or a liter in here. Just put the cap back on, and this is a locking cap, so the water would stay in there. If I had water in there, I generally put it in my back pouch of my pack, or I have a couple straps on top. I just strap it on top of my pack. So for really dry stretches, I had the capability on me to carry 4 liters in my bottles, and then this would be up to 3. So I had the capability of 7 liters, but I never needed that. I think 4, 5, 6 was the most I ever carried. But yeah, so once in a while I would put some water in here and carry it, but not very often. What I like too is this collapses all the way down. So when you're not using it, obviously for space. And then lastly, I'll show you what I also have in my thing that might be a tip for you. This is not her question, but I bought a very small personal water bottle and cut it. This seems kind of silly, but it's important. You get, sometimes you'll see, you might be in a dry stretch, and especially on a dry year on trail, and you'll see a little rivet, literally like a little trickle of water going down. This can flex and literally put it in this, like let's say it's a flat dirt with a little creek of water going through, put this in there, and even if it's slow, you can get water a little bit at a time at a very long, low rivulet. If you have a big bottle, the way the angles are, you cannot get it into the creek. It just, the little rivulet, it just will not fit. So I use this, it weighs nothing. It also holds, when I have it in my bag, I bring a couple pop tops for my water bottles and a couple extra tops because you will lose them at times. So I have a couple pop tops, a couple lids for my smart water bottles I carry water in, also for other hikers if they lose theirs. So that's really important to carry a couple extra. Anyway, I hope that answers your question and gives you a little insight into what I do. So my next question is from Andrew Bruce, all the way from Australia. Gear, in your opinion, what's the best place to buy hiking gear at a retail outlet on the West Coast in the USA? Looking to refresh some of my components. So I know that's hard because most of the really good ultralight gear is in the US, and what I understand is if you buy a Z-Pax tent for $600, it costs almost that much to ship it to another country. So obviously REI. Now they have some ultralight stuff, but almost everything I carry, almost nothing's from REI. My ultralight air mattress, my Neo Air X Lite is from there, but everything else is from cottage companies. And so here's a couple names of cottage companies that I use or that are very popular in the US. Starting off with my pack, it actually, again in the survey, it's been about 5 years or more. My pack is the #1 pack on trail. It's a ULA Circuit. They make a lot of different size ones. Circuit is the middle size one, which I have. I think it's a max of 63 liters. Love mine, and it's orange. So ULA, there's Light Equipment, which is my quilt and my jacket now. Z-Pax, there's Big Agnes, there's Lightheart Gear. There's so many, and I know you probably have searched and stuff, but that's the way to go. If you're okay with incurring a large cost to have it shipped to you. I mean, I know it costs a lot, but I encourage you not to get on trail not trying a tent or a bag or a pack. The pack's super important. You have the pack on you longer than anything else you have. So if your pack doesn't fit right, you're going to struggle and be miserable and probably quit. So the pack's super important. I'm not sure I'll still answer that question, but those are some of the companies that I would suggest, and of course REI. So my next question is from Jeff Wrinkle. He had asked me, how did your meals and snacks change as you spent more time on the trail? Any changes due to shopping options, taste changes, cravings, things like that? So yeah, that's an interesting question because I said in my last video that I had 13 resupply boxes sending to myself and a total of 63 days food in those boxes. And I bought, of course, what I liked at the time. And I knew I'd probably be sick of or not want to eat some of that stuff, but there's nothing you do when you do that. If you have a live person at home, like a spouse or a friend shopping a little ahead of time, you can change your diet and they can go buy it for you. But my friend was kind enough to even send me my packages, so I had to have them all ready ahead of time. So how did my taste and cravings change? Well, what's interesting is the boxes I did get, I did not like for the most part, but you know, it's just food, and it's, you know, it might be 4 days of food, so I kind of suffered through it. And it's not horrible, it's just that I'm tired of some of the stuff that I had in my boxes. But I'll give you a couple changes I did. I thought I was going to have coffee every morning and heat it up, and also oatmeal. I didn't feel like I had enough time for the coffee in the morning, and I got sick of oatmeal. So eventually, thanks to Bart showing me, because you guys probably know I cook in freezer quart bag Ziplocs. So I decided he does granola, gets some powdered milk. I put little packets of honey in there. But so it's super easy because if you have powdered milk in there, you literally wake up, there's no cooking, no heating, nothing. You just literally pour some water in there, stir it, and now you have granola and some healthy food for the morning. Also, what I tend to do is try to get out of camp, get going, because it's the hardest thing is to get going. And I'm kind of copying him too, but basically we get like 2 to 5 miles down the trail, 6 miles, and then stop and have breakfast. So at least get a few miles in, and then eat that and get some fuel and energy for continuing on until lunch. Another thing that I didn't count on was a lot of these small towns didn't have freezer quart bags, Ziplocs. So I'd go in these little towns where they had barely enough food, or you're like resupplying, you know, getting food out of a little convenience store or gas station. And I didn't even think about it. So there was a couple times where I had to wash out and keep reusing Ziplocs through a section of like 5 days because I couldn't get any. And then when I found them, I'd buy extra. I just carried a whole bunch of extra. I'd carry like 20 at a time. So if I got to a town that didn't have them, I at least had them because that's what I cooked my dinners in. And I was making granola in the morning. So yeah, that became a problem that I didn't even think about. And you know, how would you know what's going to be in stores to get there? And the last thing I'll say on that too is that I started out having set plan of food for lunches. I ended up kind of phasing into snacking all the time. But the one thing I would do that would be kind of considered lunch, but it was fast, was I'd do it in tortillas, but I started with I actually would rotate and do salami and cheese, get a hard cheese, and if you can bear it in your pack will stay cool and you keep for 3 or 4 or 5 days. But I do salami and cheese and try to find some mustard packets and just roll it up. I do a roll up in tortillas. And then I'd phase into peanut butter and honey in a tortilla and roll that up. So it wasn't a full-blown lunch, but I just kind of like to have something different than bars and nuts and things like that. And so that's what I would do. Okay, our last question is from Diana. She asked me, what advice would you give to someone in the 50+ age range to prepare for a thru hike, or at least any of a myriad of great wilderness trails we have in the western U.S.? I've been an avid hiker, 6 to 13 miles per day usually. Most of my life stepped away from it a bit, but I'm building back up to it. So yeah, I don't think there's any secret to this. I mean, it's kind of like what I've been suggesting for people that are going to actually do a thru hike. That, you know, I've been asked, well, what do I do to prepare this and that? You need, you know, the right gear and things like that. But there's nothing to replace. I bet you, I think, what are the stats? 30+% of the people quit in the first 100 miles. That's a huge percentage. And you have all the right gear, you have this and that. But what they're not doing is training and getting in shape. Because what I've found personally, that when you hike this many miles, when you get into that 15-mile+ a day hiking shape on a trail with a full backpack, and it has big mountains, that it is physical, but it's just as much mental. So when people don't hike, they're not only they're not in physical shape, but they're not in mental shape. And how to, no matter what's in front of you, just get through it. It's like everything, right? So I would say to you, Diana, I mean, you're really experienced. I know Diana, we've talked some, but this is good for anybody. Is just do yourself a favor. If you're through hiking or getting ready for a long adventure or doing the John Muir Trail, go hike. And some people have a problem because they live in states that are flat and there's not a lot of elevation. So I get that. There's nothing you can do about that. But if you just hike and hike and hike, even if you don't have elevation, you need to get in some kind of hiking shape. But learn in your brain how to get towards the middle end of my hike. I was doing 20 every day almost. And it used to be, I would do 10, I was done. And you get to mentally, you're like 10 miles in, you're like, okay, now it's just downhill. We got another 10 to go. And you just blow it out. So it's all a mental game. So you need to be prepared for any kind of long adventure, physically and mentally. And I would say that's the best thing. And obviously, get your pack light. I'm working on lighting my gear because I noticed that my pack was medium, but I want to get it lighter. I want to enjoy it more and not struggle, especially in big mountains with a heavy pack. So I hope that answers your question, Diana. All right, guys, I think those were some great questions this time. Thank you. So please keep them coming. I had some good questions this week. Please send questions. I need questions and a lot of different things, whatever. There's no dumb questions, so please ask. And if I don't know, I'll find out for you. So a couple updates. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since I've told you guys that I've been pretty ill and in pain. I'm starting the progress on getting out of that. I think I have some hope. The more I look at it, I may have Lyme disease, but I may not. It may be an immune system deficiency. So with the help of Diana, who I just mentioned, who had the last question, she's helped me. I'm cleaning. I'm doing 2 things right now, and trying the simplest, easiest way, and also cheapest because I don't have insurance, is cleaning my diet up. I found out that I was eating a lot of crap. I eat a lot of stuff that's not necessarily good for you. When I'm hiking a lot, it seems to not matter, but I haven't been hiking because I've been in too much pain. I drink a lot of iced coffees that have lots of pumps of sugary syrup, which can cause inflammation. So I've cut that out. I'm cleaning up my diet. So not only will it make me feel better, less inflammation, but just feel better in general, and lean down some more and just feel better. The other thing I'm doing, and I kind of just realized, I have a friend, Tim. I don't know if Tim, if you see this, he's been a great friend of mine for many years. He was my neighbor when I was married. Also, he comes from my first 40 years of life was a golf background, and so he comes from my golf world, and also a friend. But I remember that he has a regular professional job but he started doing CBD on the side. So I've heard so much about it, but I don't know anything about it. So we talked, and he was kind enough to give me some samples and gave me a month's supply of CBD. I've been on it about CBD oil. I've been on it about 4 or 5 days, and I'm already 50% better, if not more. So I have a very strong immune system. I rarely get sick, and I do. It's got to be something bad. I don't catch the little things. And so I'm learning more about it, but I think it's just my own immune system attacking itself. Of course, I'm guessing here, but the symptoms seem to be that. So I'm hoping it's not Lyme's. I'm hoping it's this, but I'm already seeing recovery and feeling much better. So today is Tuesday the 7th. Later today, I'm going on a hike. It's my first hike in a while, so I'm going to look for that video. It'll be on the PCT with somebody that you may know. A friend of mine lives close by that has something to do with the PCT, but I have not had a video yet, so I'm looking forward to it, and one of his friends. And it may be another person, so we may have 2 up to 4 people, so look for that. And lastly, please subscribe and like and share. If you get this on Facebook, share it. You know, I've been telling you I have a Patreon page, patreon.com. You can support me as low as $1 a month. Every single dollar goes to my hikes and gear. I appreciate the 7 or 8 I have right now, and it's starting to build, so please go check that out and give a little bit if you can. If not, just check it out. It's patreon.com, and then just search for me, Mike Marmalade Lawrence. And lastly, I finally got my Marmalade Outdoors merch page up. So please go check it out. That's another way, if you don't want to do Patreon and donate or give monthly for unlimited amount of time, you can go there, and I have amazing t-shirts and sweatshirts, leggings and cell phone covers and all kinds of stuff, men's and women's. And so go check it out. It has the Marmalade logo on it. It's very reasonable. I'm going to put the links down below. I'm going to try to attach it to a window at the end here if I can, but I haven't figured it out yet. But if not, both patreon.com and my new merch site is down below in the description, so check it out. And until next time, see you down the trail.